All right, good afternoon, everybody. We want to stay with you with the storms which are making their way through the area. So they're just approaching the Savannah metro area right now, and it is a very intense line of thunderstorms. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for all the area out here in yellow, so including in Effingham County, all the way up to Scriven County and into the Chatham County area, and then right down into the Glenn County and McIntosh County area. And that warning goes through, I believe it's 12, probably I think 1:15. Let me see if I can check it out here. I think it's a 1:15 time frame. Either way, what we're going to be looking at is that intense line of some thunderstorms making its way into the area right now. So as we go ahead and continue to monitor some of these storms, we'll see if we can get the rain on here. And that's going to be with this line. And as Cutter was mentioning here, if you're watching on V News at noon, it's getting a little bit more of what we call a bow echo here, more of a backward C. And that indicates that we're getting some winds which are kind of expanding out, pushing out very strong winds. And that's where we can see some of some very strong winds now moving into parts of western areas of Savannah, probably right over the Savannah Quarters region, crossing over I-16, even extending into the Pembroke area and then now into southern areas there of Effingham County. So prepare for winds 60 to 70 miles per hour. We got to look at our storm chaser here on the top right of your screen. That's traveling along I-16, going through that very heavy rain band. And also we got to look right there at the bottom right. That is our St. Joseph's Candler Pooler Parkway Skycam. Very dark clouds located moving into that area. And that is what's going to be making its way into the Savannah metro. So let's go ahead and put the tracker on here to see when these storms are going to be making their way into your particular area. And these are racing out to the northeast, 55 miles per hour. That's how quickly the storms are moving. So you know when the storm is moving that quickly, there's a lot of wind, which is helping to move those storms. And this is going to continue to make its way out through the Savannah area and then up into the low country as we go through really the next hour or so. So let's go ahead and put the timer getting into Savannah by 12:41 into the Bluffton area just about 1 o'clock. And right now you can see it's 12:37. Hilton Head gets it just after the 1 o'clock hour. So if you're watching over at RBC, watching over through the Bluffton area, even the downtown and eastern areas of Chatham County, this storm is moving quickly into your area. So you need to make sure you're prepared for that. Maybe try to get your travel done now before you get out into this mess, which is going to move through the area very quickly. And even behind that line, we still have some very intense rainfall from Statesboro into the Baxley area, but nothing severe. This is the severe threat we're really worried about here, or concerned about, I should say, over the next couple of hours. As far as any warnings go, let's get back over to what we have as far as warnings are concerned, and we'll get into all the alerts which we have out there right now. And I want to let you know.
He's coming up on some sort of tree down or damage in the middle of the roadway there. You can see.
And we can see that right there. Yeah, we're getting, this is the WTOC Storm Chaser, and he's still on I-16, right? I believe. Do we know exactly where he is? I-16? Bria? Okay, we're trying to find out. I believe he's on I-16, and there's some sort of tree maybe possibly down in I-16, and you can see the winds really gusting in the trees gusting in the strong winds which we have out there. And any winds 50+ miles per hour, easily strong enough to take down some trees and some tree limbs. So that's what we're concerned about. 60 to 70+ mile per hour winds, and that strongest will cause some damage out there. So concern for electricity and power will be a concern out there. And also if you're out there traveling, some of those trees and tree limbs which could come down over some of the travel area. So that's a look. I believe it's got to be I-16. I think he's traveling more eastbound right now. Let's go back over to our graphics and pull me up over here, and that's going to show us what we have. If we can take the graphics, we can kind of show you exactly where the rain is right now. And again, this is what we're looking at, the severe line of thunderstorms making its way into the area. We don't have as far as any warnings out there, but that tornado watch is still in effect. So we've had that earlier. Some of these storms could produce a brief little spin up with an isolated tornado, but the main threat is going to be for some strong damaging winds, 60, 65, maybe 70 miles per hour as line of storms makes its way through the region. So there's the radar right now, seeing where that line is. Let's go ahead and zoom in, and we'll kind of move over some areas right now and work our way down the line to see who is seeing the heaviest activity right now. This is going to be into parts of Effingham County and even extreme southern areas here of Scriven County, right down along Georgia 119, getting into Highway 80.
Yeah, so Andrew's on 144
Oh,
and a half mile marker. That's Bryan County.
He's in Bryan County right now on 144. That's where he is. So he's not on 16 right now, but traffic has stopped, as we can see. And he's in the WTOC First Alert Storm Chaser right there. And it looks like the heaviest stuff has moved through his area. And you can see a lot of the, you can see the tree down.
Right next to the flashing lights.
Can we pull me up in front of the graphics right here so I can kind of point out what we're looking at? Can we pull me up in front of the Storm Chaser graphic right now? And that will show us exactly what we're looking at. The tree down over along 144 right now.
Oh, sorry, I-16. My apologies.
He is on I-16.
I-16.
Okay, yeah, he is on I-16. This is going to be looking at over here. And there's where we have a truck off into the side right now. And it looks like you can see the tree, which it looks like has traffic stopped right now. And this is going to be eastbound I-16, right? Eastbound I-16, Jamie? Anybody? I believe it's going to be eastbound I-16 traffic.
I-16 mile marker 144.
Mile marker 144. There it is. That's what happens with live TV. We're getting the information here. As soon as we're getting it, we're passing it along to you. That's where he is located right now. And you can see traffic stopped trying to travel eastbound on I-16 because a tree is blocking the traffic out there from the strong wind. So let's go back over to the radar. If we can put that up here, we'll take a little tour of where we are seeing the heaviest activity right now. And there is Effingham County. We can see the storms moving right along 119. So Springfield on the west side, it's going to be moving into your area very shortly right now. But the heaviest stuff is right over the Shawnee area. And we'll go ahead and kind of move this down the line. So the Low Country, Jasper County, Beaufort County, Hampton County, you're pretty quiet, but again, get ready for these storms as they're going to be moving into your area. There's the heaviest stuff right over the Rankin area. Guyton along 21, you're quiet now, but I'd say in another 25 minutes or so, that line will be making its way into your area. It's already moved out through I-16, so again, it looked like the worst was through I-16, and it has moved on through. The heaviest stuff is now crossing over Highway 80 and getting into the Marlow area, the Guyton region, south the western areas here of parts of Effingham County, and that will continue to make its way right along Georgia 30, it looks like. So heavy rainfall expected. Now moving into the Pooler area, Bloomingdale region, working northward. So Interstate 95, you're going to start to see some of the heaviest activity getting over towards the outlets. If you're trying to go over to the outlets, maybe the Sam's Club over there in the Pooler Parkway, that's where that activity is moving in to that area. Expect 60+ mile-per-hour winds with that line. A little bit less as far as intensity, it looks like here as the storms move into Richmond Hill right now, right along 17. As you head further down 144, though, the storm's not quite there yet, but they're into the Belfast area, so that'll be rotating on into your area shortly. East side of Chatham County, pretty quiet. Over towards Wilmington Island, Whitmer's Island, Tybee Island. As you can see to Hilton Head Island, storm's not quite there yet. And we want to see, we can take one of the sky cams right now. I think we're seeing the heaviest activity. Maybe our St. Joseph's Candler Pooler Parkway sky cam. I think it's in channel 2, TVM2 right now. And look at the wind right there. Can we pull that up full right now? And we can talk over it. That'll show us where we had that band of rain, which we saw moving on through. This is the Tanger outlets. This is our Vaden Chevrolet Pooler Parkway sky cam. We said it's going to move into the outlets. And you can see traffic at almost a standstill. We can pop me up in front of the graphics so you can see Interstate 95 right there at a standstill right there, or moving very slowly at least as the strong gusts of wind move through that region. And we're going to get a good wind gust over here at the airport, which is located just over Interstate 95. So we'll get a pretty good indication of how strong these winds are over with this band of rain. But look at the heavy rain moving in. You see the trees blowing in the wind out there. We're going to have some damage associated, I would assume, with this band. You're getting 60+ mile-per-hour winds. As again, we saw that tree down along I-16. We're going to see another sky cam over here. It's going to be Carrie Hilliard's, which is going to be popping up shortly right now. And we can see a nice little shelf cloud out there, it looks like, as it moves into the area right now. This is on the south side of the Savannah, so very dark. Rain not quite there yet, but it's out to the west. That's where our sky cam is going to be looking at there. And we do see the winds, very strong winds gusting over into that area. So prepare for this. If you're watching on the east side over at Carrie Hilliard's, maybe if you're going out for lunch right now, the storms are moving into your area and will contain winds gusting 60+ miles per hour. Severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect. So this is what we're going to be watching right now as that line continues to make its way into our area. I want to go back over to our weather graphics right now. Just want to see if there's any type of rotation. I haven't looked at the velocity here because we can get an isolated tornado threat is still there, even though the main thing we're concerned about now is the strong damaging winds. I want to recenter this as we'll go back over to more of a home view and get you updated on what we have. We'll check the alerts to make sure that we don't have any other warnings out there. The alerts which we have out there right now, the severe thunderstorm warning, that's for that line right now, is the only warning which we have in effect for our area, and that is a severe thunderstorm warning which goes through 1:15. So about another half hour from now, as that line should make its way up into the low country, I would assume they would extend those warnings up for the low country areas. But right now, the only warnings we have is that severe thunderstorm warning. Tornado watch goes through 6 p.m. So again, there's still a potential for seeing an isolated spin up with this. Let's go ahead and look at the velocity right now and see if we can see anything associated with any type of rotation with that. We'll bring in the radar right here. And I want to zoom on in here to some of these storms right now, especially in Effingham and Chatham County right now, where we're seeing some of the, let's see if I can get the camera on there to zoom on in, where we're getting some of the reds and yellow and reds and greens next to each other right now. So we're zooming on in. Here's Chatham County right now, and we got a little bit of some rotation. Cutter here, take a look at this one over here as well as we watch this greens and the reds right over the Port Wentworth area here, just to the east of the Interstate 95 area. That's showing some broad rotation in there as well. We don't see any type of warning associated with this system, but we're going to monitor that one as it works its way up Port Wentworth. This is Highway 21 right now, getting into the Port Wentworth area. Looks like it's going to continue to make its way out to the north right now. I'll put a little tracker on that for you as the storm works quickly out to the northeast. Again, not a warned rotation right now, but we're definitely seeing some type of rotation into that. It's broad rotation right now, but in the Monteith area by 1249 and the O'Leary region by about 1251. So again, we're going to continue to watch that area, which has a little bit of rotation on that right now. As we continue to move a little bit more, let's see if we can find it. And here's another one right there. That's the newest update right here. We're going to toss it over to meteorologist Jamie Erna, who's live over in the WTOC First Alert Weather Center.
Dave, you were talking about those wind gusts, so we're going to look at the max wind gusts coming into our system, but this is a little bit of a delay, and right now, Savannah Hilton Head International Airport showing 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts, but the chat, we're on a National Weather Service chat where all the meteorologists talk with the National Weather Service, and we had a 56-knot gust at the airport, which is 65-mile-per-hour wind, and that is most likely what Dave was just tracking in West Chatham with that broad area of rotation. We've had 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts at Hunter. You saw all the winds on the south side. So right now, most concerning visually to people is the dark clouds moving in. So here's the radar back, and we're going to show you, I'm going to zoom in here and talk about Effingham County, where that line is moving straight through the county right now. How much lightning are we seeing? Because that's concerning as well. Rotation, yes, we talk about that in a matter of terms and terminology. But lightning is very scary to people, and we do have reports of power outages down, or excuse me, lines down at Highway 17 and Roebling Road in Effingham County. And can you see the number of lightning strikes here? That's 91 lightning strikes just within 17 and Highway 20 within Effingham County. And right now, I want to go ahead and just look at that lightning that is not as intense in Richmond Hill, but the winds are as well. Now, speaking of Richmond Hill, we were talking about 144 earlier. Andrew Gordon is the WTOC storm chaser on I-16 near mile marker 144, and he's going to give us a live look of what he's seeing out there. And he may be in a little less intense pocket, but the intensity is right through Effingham, 17, 21, really through the Newington area, Shawnee, Clio, Springfield, Rincon. You're seeing those dark clouds. Heads up, it is right on your doorstep with vivid lightning and very gusty winds. The airport had that 65-mile-per-hour wind gust, so that is definitely possible crossing over 21. And now we have a tornado warning. and radar indicated, and if you could take me in boxes, I feel like I'm covering up stuff here. So let's go to the alerts, and let's go to the warnings, and we have a warning exactly where we're talking about that heavy rainfall going through the lightning just east of Newington, north of Springfield, and let's get the areas right outside of Newington. This goes until 1:30 tonight, or this afternoon, and that's going to be crossing over into Hampton County and northern Jasper County. So if you know anybody, and I do know people who live in the northern end of the county, if you're on Kildare, the Okie area, let's get down here, and I think there's a Sisters Ferry, or, okay, here we go. So Cowpen Hunting, Springfield Road, Sam Smart Road, Corinth Church Road, Ardmore Okie Road. If you live on Old Augusta Road, which is North Old Augusta Road, not Augusta Road off 21 in the southern part of the county, this is Old Augusta Road. In the northern end of Effingham County. And then as we cross into Scriven County, Runs Branch Road, Hudson's Ferry, this is where people go fishing, where we get our information for Burton's Ferry, or no, excuse me, Savannah River Clio. And then heads up, if you are along 321 in the northern end of Jasper County and Hampton County, where 119 and 321 meet just outside of Robertsville, Garnett, you are under a tornado warning. So let me go back into the radar and show you exactly what we're looking at here. Whoops. And zoom out just a, zoom out just a little bit and show you right here, this area. Do you see right where we're talking about this Boeing, or that this Boeing of that line right here from Blue Springs? It's probably the worst of it is actually cross 21 in the northern end of Effingham County. Newington just getting those gusty winds, but this is in effect until 1:30, this tornado warning for portions of northern Effingham County, southern Scriven County, and into where kind of Jasper and Hampton meet. And that is concerning, because some of those wind gusts that we had just at the airport was a 65-mile-per-hour wind gust. So let me go back to the radar and show you a large view. Okay, so let me zoom out here and show you that the line extends all the way down, and a new warning issued for Effingham County in the city of Rincon. If you are in the city of Rincon, you need to be in your safe space. I know a lot of people in here are about to call their family in Effingham. There goes Mike Sela. If you live in the Silverbrook neighborhood, or Silverwood, if you live in Westwood, if you live on 275 or Ebenezer Road, right here, you're looking at Blandford area, McCall Road. If you know anybody in the Old Augusta Road South, the Old Augusta North was still under that warning until 1:30. This tornado warning right here in the heart of Effingham County, moving very quickly and will eventually cross the river. But really from Springfield, Stillwell, Ebenezer Road, that's what I'm concerned with now, because it looks like the worst of it has crossed over into Rincon, but north of the city, Ebenezer Road, Fort Howard Road, Long Pond Road, and pretty much everywhere east of 21 is under a tornado warning. Dave's got more information. He's going to track that and kind of look at kind of the circulation and some of the effects that people are seeing out there, that what we're seeing in the studio. Yeah, we got
two tornado warnings out there right now, and we can see that right here on our maps. One for Effingham County, southern areas of Effingham County, extreme western areas here of Chatham County, and then the other one here for northern areas of Effingham County, extending into parts of Hampton County. I want to get over and show you exactly where we are looking at these storms and get into the velocity out there, because that's going to show us where we are looking at the rotation embedded inside the storms right here. And we were watching this before those warned storms, saying, hey, this is looking a little bit like we need to keep our eyes on it. And as we zoom on in, this is what we're going to be watching right here, which is prompting the warnings right now. We'll go ahead and zoom on in. and the one here into Effingham County. Kind of harder to see, but it looks like the one is going to be moving over to 21, maybe getting over towards the Berryville area. So if you're watching over there into the Tillman region, this looks like it's going to be moving closer to your area as we continue to see very heavy rainfall and winds, even behind that main line, still gusting, very gusty out there. So it's going to be a very big wind event here. This is the one which has a much better signature as far as a tornadic signature on the velocity right there, and that's right over the Brighton area, getting into the Shirley region right now. That's going to continue to head out towards the northeast. Again, they're racing at about 55 miles per hour, so I'll put a tracker on this one right here, kind of heading up towards the Estill area. So if you're watching over in the Estill region, this is going to be moving into your area by about 1:05. So only about another 10 minutes from now as it continues to work very quickly out towards the region. So you want to be in the lowest level of your home, away from any windows. You want as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. Not a bad idea to go ahead, if you're in your safe shelter, to go ahead and bring a helmet or something to protect yourself from that flying debris as well. So let's go back and track that one over there into Effingham County, where we do have that tornado warning still into effect for that area as we move on down into Effingham County. And again, this one here is a little bit harder to see exactly where it is, especially when we're in dual boxes like this. So we can go back over to the single box. Kind of hard with these old eyes to actually see what's going on out there. But we're actually looking at here, we want to see where the tightest rotation is. And right now, I'm seeing just broad rotation here into parts of Effingham County right now as we get over near the Berryville area along Georgia 119. Not a very tight couplet is what I'm seeing. I got second set of eyes on that. Cutter, you look at the same thing? Very broad rotation. I'm not seeing anything on here that would really indicate.
I think basically, this kind of setup where you get these tight little spin ups, they can
Right.
drop a tornado quick, and then they tend to lift.
And they do, yeah, that's what happens a lot of times. And the warning has been canceled. Again, good. So we'll go back over to alerts and see what we have as far as any alerts out there. And we're hearing that the tornado warning has been canceled for Effingham County. Okay, so it hasn't registered yet into our system, but the tornado warning still continuing here for Hampton County. Again, that had the one with a little bit better signature associated with it. That one still into effect going through, I believe, that 1:15 time frame. So that's the one we're going to be concentrating on right now. That is going through 1:30, sorry, excuse me. Tornado warning still in effect now just for western areas here, southwestern areas, you can say, of Hampton County, just over the Savannah River. So if you're watching in northern Effingham County, you're clear of that warning. Even in southeastern areas of Scriven County, you are clear. And we're hearing now that this tornado warning has been canceled. We're waiting for it to disappear from our graphics right now. But again, as far as what we were looking at with the velocity out there, even though we're seeing some tremendous amounts of rain and very strong winds, we had winds with this line just above the surface. It was about 2,000 feet above the surface, up to 100 miles per hour. So that's why we're seeing the strong winds as these thunderstorms grow and tap into those strong winds just above the surface and then bring them down to the ground. That's why we're seeing a lot of the very strong winds associated with this area right now. But let's get back over and show you what we have as far as the velocity goes. And again, we're looking much better as far as Effingham County goes, as far as any rotation out there, as far as anything producing a tornado. But you're still going to get some very strong winds, so prepare for that into Effingham County. The only warning which we have for tornado warning is still with this area right here, moving out of the Brighton area into Hampton County. That's going to be getting up towards the Estill region. And even that one right now is looking a little bit broader at there. I don't see the tight rotation, but you're seeing some very strong winds associated with this as it gets closer to the Estill area here within the next 10 minutes or so. So prepare for the strong gusty winds. Tree limbs could be coming down. We could be talking about some power outages associated with that as well. Let's get back over to the radar and show you where we are seeing the reflectivity, which shows us exactly where the heavy rain associated with this storm is. So that's it. Moving through the Brighton area right along 321. It's going to be moving into your area in Jasper County. It's moving now right along the Savannah River as it continues to make its way out of Effingham County. That's where the strongest of the heaviest rains, I should say, and the strongest winds associated with this system right here into Effingham County, right over the Baker Hill area, moving out of Springfield, now into the Hardeeville region. And that's moving up into the Ridgeland area as it will be getting there probably within the next 10 or 15 minutes. So let's go ahead and put a tracker on that. I'm going to move this down just a little bit and see if we can put another tracker on here And we'll put a squall line tracker on here. And this is, again, moving very quickly. So here's the tracker going down. We'll kind of time it out for us as we move into Effingham County out to the northeast. So try to get into the Beaufort area. Looks like by 124. Burton, it looks like by 119, and Ridgeland 107. So about another less than 10 minutes, it'll be moving into the Ridgeland area. So I'm going to toss it over to meteorologist Jamie Erdl, who's back over with more information in the First Alert Weather Center.
Dave, we didn't have a warning for Chatham County as far as a tornado warning, but a report from a 911 center, which means somebody called 911, saying that there was a potential tornado touchdown at 200 Expansion Boulevard, buildings reported. So that's off Jimmy DeLoach Parkway, which was just where we had basically the airport reporting a 66-mile-per-hour wind gust. So appreciate reports. We have to confirm this, of course, but the straight line winds is what we were really concerned about and what we were warning people about all day. So 911 center got a call. Chatham County 911 Center got a call of a potential tornado touchdown. I think Dave's going to go back and look and see if he could see any rotation in that area. 200 Expansion Boulevard is off Jimmy DeLoach right here, which is seeing heavy rainfall right now and still gusty winds, with the heaviest of rains along 17 into the metro area. But the report is that there was some damage to buildings. So that is also possible with these straight line winds. So let's take a look at our wind gusts that we had throughout the coastal empire and low country so far today. And by far the highest has been in Chatham County as that system kind of bowed out. We were looking at that backward sea. We had a 66-mile-per-hour wind gust at the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport, which could mean that an unregistered wind gust in that area, specifically talking to this storm report, could have been 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So the severe thunderstorm warning continues for Bryan, Chatham, Effingham, Liberty, McIntosh, and Scriven counties until 1:15, and that includes 70-mile-per-hour winds with about up to maybe quarter-size hail. We don't have a specific tornado spotted, but I think the damage to buildings is what the caller and the 911 center is concerned about. So doesn't matter if it's a registered tornado or if we're under that warning or not. We are telling you now these severe thunderstorms have the capability of producing strong straight line winds. Let's go to the alerts right now, and I think we have a new warning. So it's still in effect for Effingham County, even though the National Weather Service had cleared it from it is still in effect for portions of Effingham County, including the city of Rincon along 95. That is all of pretty much Port Wentworth as well. And so that could have included that little area right here, Jimmy DeLoach and Expansion Boulevard in the Port Wentworth / Bloomingdale area. But let's talk to the tornado warning in effect for Rincon. Basically all your neighborhoods back here, Fort Howard Road, Chimney Road, if you live in Silverwood, if you live in Westwood, off of Blandford, even if you're on McCall Road, those winds are still pretty strong west of 21. So Ebenezer Road, I know a lot of people who live back here, right along Long Pond Road and Old Augusta Road South. This is moving very quickly, 55-mile-per-hour forward motion, not winds, and along I-95. And just to give you a little perspective, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to the maps here because I was noticing there's a huge backup on 95, not just I-16, where we were talking about where Andrew was with the WTOC Storm Chaser. Look at that backup on I-95. The trucks and, of course, regular people do travel this road very heavily. And those winds, those high-profile vehicles, trucks, SUVs, they probably pulled over, and blinding rain right now. So I would stay off of I-95, especially in South Carolina, if you can. And we do have, I'm going to query this. This is I-95 South, just near the Quaco Road area. We've got a fallen tree reported at I-95 north of 204. So we have several damage reports right now across the coastal empire and low country. Going back to the Farah First Alert live radar, and we're watching this strong line of storms with vivid lightning as well. The lightning kind of flared up, and that's what's happening with these flare-ups of storms. Dave's going to talk more to the tornado warning, and I'm going to toss it to Dave right now.
Yeah, thankfully the tornado warning now, and we had in Hampton County, has been allowed to expire, but we still have the tornado warning now into effect for parts of Jasper County. If you're living here in Effingham County right now, you're clear from that storm. So that's good news for your area, but you're still getting some heavy rain and some strong winds. It's this area right now getting close to the Tarboro area, kind of right along US 321 in the Tillman region, that we're watching the possible rotation in that. So it looks like that's going to be traveling up into, let's say, into the Tarboro area and then getting up towards South Carolina 652. So we're going to watch that one over the next, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes. Also, I want to show you another one which is not warned at this time, but we're keeping our eyes on this right over the Okatee area right now, just to the east of Interstate 95. That is continuing to show a little bit of some broad rotation as well. There's no warning associated with that, but that's going to head up to the northeast right now, in between 17 and 462, it looks like. So it's been a very active afternoon. Let's get you back over and show you what we have right now as far as any warnings across the region. We'll go ahead and reset ourselves here, and as we put on the alerts, what we have for the area right now is still that severe thunderstorm warning, and we still have that tornado warning. That's the only warning we have. But again, we cleared you for Effingham County. That storm which prompted the warning is now moving into Jasper County right now, and that warning is in effect, I believe, until the 1:15 time frame, and that's what we're continuing to watch right now. That line of severe storms, as Jamie has just been talking about right now, is moving out very quickly to the northeast, and the heaviest activity, which we're really concerned about, the strongest part of the storm, is this area, which is kind of bowing out right now. A lot of the winds pushing down to the surface and bowing out as they hit the surface. The strongest winds are moving into Jasper County and into Hampton County and even parts of Chatham County. Right now, that line extends down as it moves off the coast now. We're still getting some heavy rain and gusty winds here back behind that main line, but that's not a severe threat right now. It's really this line now pushing up into the low country. So if you're watching over at Hilton Head, not quite there yet, but it's not going to be too much longer before that line moves into your area. So let's go ahead and move back over into this area right now and really concentrate on where that storm is and where it's going to be going, and that's up into the low country area here. So Beaufort County, pretty quiet right now, but Jasper County and just now moving into the Bluffton area, you're seeing the heavy rains and the very gusty winds with this line right now. There's that tornado warning. Again, it's with that line, so Rankin, you're cleared right now. We've had reports of a possible tornado coming in from into the Rankin area. I saw that on the National Weather Service chat. I haven't heard any reports of any damage or anything like that, anything confirmed or anything, but we're still going to continue to watch that. So this is that tornado warning, which is still continuing to 1:15 for a very small part here of Jasper County. I think meteorologist Jay Marital has a little bit more information over in the First Alert Weather Center now.
Yeah, Dave. So look, you were talking about looking at the chat, and so you could pull up what's happening in Effingham right now. That is just amazing how fast that storm blew through the county. And so we're getting a little bit more information from the Effingham County Emergency Management, where the could be damage in the Shawnee area, where I just saw it. So from Effingham County Fire Department and Rescue reports thunderstorm wind damage. Garage doors on the Shawnee Fire Department were blown in. So that storm was packing a punch of 70 miles an hour. Now, an EF0 tornado could have that much wind. So whether it's a tornado or not, these straight line winds are doing damage across the coastal empire and low country, and that's what we were warning you about last night. So right now we do have a severe thunderstorm, good news now. I'm going to go to the I'm jumping here because I want to let you know that the Jasper County tornado warning has expired, but there is still one warning in effect right here, and it's a very small area, which is very impressive. This is probably it's dated a little bit, so our system is just a little bit slow to catch up, which is fine. So let's go back to Effingham County, where we're getting reports of power lines down in Rincon at Blue Jay and McCall. Obviously, that is a very well-known area just because we've done so many stories about Blue Jay and McCall and, you know, getting crashes at that intersection. But it's scary as well because of the pine trees that are right along McCall and Blue Jay. So the fact that I haven't seen a lot of tree damage is promising in Rincon, in that area. And along 17 have not seen any damage, but the winds have blown the doors off of the Shawnee Fire Department, or have blown the doors in of the Shawnee Fire Department. Still getting rain there. And let me just go back to reported wind gusts across the coastal empire and low country. So the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport reported a 66-mile-per-hour wind gust, and power lines reported now down on Pinder Point Road in Chatham County. And good news, the first report of any sort of damage in Chatham County that was first reported as a possible tornado, which is most likely straight line winds, was that it was a roof collapse at a building on 200 Expansion Road off Jimmy DeLoach Parkway, and no injuries have been associated with this incident at a building, probably an industrial building. It's pretty industrial over there on off of Jimmy DeLoach Parkway at Expansion Road. No injuries, but the fact that they did have a partial roof collapse. We heard the rain come down at WTOC. We felt the wind, and we'll toss it to Dave because I think he has more information talking about that specific line now really barreling through the low country.
Yeah, and thankfully, right now, we do not have any tornado warnings. I know it shows up right there, but the National Weather Service has expired that tornado warning. It was going through 115, so it's going to take a minute or two for it to clear the system. But thankfully, that warning, which prompted the storm, which prompted that warning, has weakened a little bit as far as rotation in there. Now, we're still getting some very strong winds, and that severe thunderstorm warning continues through that 1:30 time frame. Really more so for the low country and now coastal areas here, Chatham and down into the McIntosh County areas. Inland areas, heavy rain, still going to get some gusty winds, but the threat for the severe storms is rewinding down once that line has moved through your area. So let's show you where the radar is right now, and we talked about it now moving out of Georgia and up into our low country areas, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now with that line into Hampton County, now moving into parts of the Jasper County region, and then straggling down into parts of Beaufort and Chatham County as it moved off the coast already of Glenn County. So Glenn County, McIntosh County, your severe threat is over, although still going to get some more heavy rain and some gusty winds. You see the roads are all wet if you're trying to travel out there. That's our WTOC First Alert Storm Chaser, and that is encountering some gusty winds and the heavy rain as well. This line, as we focus on that, if you're watching really into Jasper, Beaufort, and Hampton County, that's the main areas we're going to be watching for that line making its way into the area. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom on into that area just a little bit more, because everybody else, even though you're seeing some rain and some gusty winds, your severe weather threat is pretty much over with as of right now. It's the low country which we're going to really be concerned about, and that's with this line. So there it is right now. Again, that warning has been allowed to expire, just taking another minute or so for it to clear our system. It does it automatically. We can't clear that ourselves here. But I do want to go ahead and put a tracker on that. As we track out the storms, we'll put a squall line on there. So if you're watching here and you haven't seen any rain or storms yet, you're wondering when it's going to be getting into your area, here we go. We'll put the tracker on that and getting down over to Hilton Head as it moves quickly out to the northeast right now. So there it is. There's your latest tracker right now, with the storms moving at about 55 miles per hour, getting into Bluffton right now. Beaufort getting in there at 125, it looks like, so about another 10 to 15 minutes. And then Hilton Head, it's not in that cone, but I can probably tell you it's going to be coming up here probably closer to about that 130, 140 time frame. Prepare for some very strong winds. We had winds reported in here up to 70 miles per hour. That's well enough to do tree damage. We had some reports of some roof damage as well. And there could actually be even still a little bit of some small hail. We can check on that to see if there's a little bit of some small hail embedded in that system as well. Not a large hail event with this, but yeah, there could be some little pea-sized hail embedded in there as those storms move on through. But again, that's not the main threat. It's really going to be the winds associated with this. So let's go back over and check out the velocities, see if we're seeing any type of rotation in there. And thankfully right now, what I'm seeing here on the velocities is everything pretty much behaving a little bit as well. I don't see anything as far as any tight rotation there that would prompt a tornado warning, but I'm going to go ahead and zoom on in here and take a little closer look and see if you can see anything here. I know we have some red and green next to each other, and that's a lot we focus on when the reds and the greens get next to each other, but you're really looking at a very small little area, so you'd like to see a dot or two next to each other like that, but this is not tornadic activity as well, so that's definitely some good news. So let's move up into parts of Jasper County right now, and we can see that nothing really looking too ominous as of right now, but very strong winds. We are seeing those winds still capable of producing 60 to 70 mile per hour winds gusting as it makes its way through the region. We had a 66 mile per hour wind gust here officially at the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport, and we're looking at much better winds as far as any type of rotation in there behind that system. So the threat for severe weather will be winding down for our immediate local area here probably within the next half hour or so. And as it moves out of our region and heads up towards Colleton County and into the Charleston region, but it's still that line moving into Jasper and now moving really almost out of Hampton County right now, which is seeing some of the heaviest activity. So there it is. If you're watching out there, prepare for very strong winds. What we saw move through, especially into Effingham and Chatham counties right now, earlier I should say. Right now it's up into the Hampton area, right along 278, getting right where our radar is located into the Grays area, and continuing to make its way down further to the south as it gets into northern areas and central areas here of Jasper County. So right over the Bashan area, right along Interstate 95, that's going to contain 65 mile per hour wind gusts possible as it works its way over towards the Yemassee and the Sheldon area. So prepare for that if you're watching over in those regions. Again, the severe threat is hopefully moving out of our area shortly. We're going to send it over to meteorologist Jamie Ertl, who's got another update over in the First Alert Weather Center.
Thanks, Dave. And what you were just talking about, you're talking about rotation and straight line winds, and I wanted to show you just how much lightning we're seeing in that tight little vicinity of southern Hampton County and northern Jasper County along 321, just outside of Estill. And it's about 77. If you want to take me in boxes, it's kind of hard to walk back. I don't know if I'm in frame or not, but 77 lightning strikes within that little area of the Coosawhatchee and off that highway, and the Grays area, pretty windy right now, and we do want to talk about a little bit more reporting of storm reports. So right now we do have more thunderstorm warnings as far as, excuse me, not warnings. We have the thunderstorm wind damage reported on Pinder Point Road in Chatham County. Severe thunderstorm just expired for Chatham, Bryan, Effingham, Liberty, and McIntosh County. So let me put the warnings or the alerts back on here, and let's just do all.
Expires, severe thunderstorm warning is expired for Bryan,
Yep.
Effingham, Liberty, McIntosh.
But the severe thunderstorm warning continues for the low country. And one thing I want to just mention that before or right during the noon, I was listening on Facebook Live as I was driving in here. Yes, I had my phone in my purse, but Cutter was talking about the fact that the Storm Prediction Center still put the Low Country and Effingham County and parts of Chatham County right along Highway 80 in a moderate risk of severe weather. That's really unheard of for us, and really enhanced is almost unheard of, but we are still into the very severe part of this storm, even though they just canceled a couple of the severe thunderstorm warnings. We still have the chance of seeing very strong winds after the rain is done. So Cutter was just kind enough to say that, you know, I was watching from Alabama a deep area of low pressure developing, and that means winds coming in from the west. So even though the rain may have subsided in your neck of the woods and you want to go and look at things, just stay inside, chill with us. We got you covered here on WTOC. We really want you to be safe throughout this whole process because we still do have a tornado watch. We're not out of the woods just yet. Everything in red that you see on your maps is a tornado watch, and we could still have very gusty winds throughout the coastal empire and low country. Severe thunderstorm watch in effect, is that a watch? Excuse me, let me just query that. From Beaufort to Hilton Head to Bluffton, severe thunderstorm warning until 1:45. And so let's go back to the radar and show you that this line right here is really nasty. Cyria Sandlin's coming back from the Heritage, and she was just in Bluffton proper. So she's at the promenade, and I said, you need to stop. You need to stop. You need to pull over. Go to the coffee shop there and have a drink. Wait it out. It's moving very quickly. Wait it out if you have to. If you're in your car, if you know somebody who is traveling along 46, the farm area, 170, Buckwalter Parkway, Bluffton Parkway, pretty much the heart of Bluffton right now needs to be alert. There's a severe thunderstorm. Yeah, there's a severe thunderstorm warning. And let's go ahead and take the Beaufort Sky Cam because it is just along Laurel Bay, along MCAS and 116. We're looking at pretty much blinding rain in the low country in Beaufort. The camera is on top of the Beaufort Memorial Hospital, which is actually in Port Royal. So it's looking across the river into Beaufort, into the park right there. I can't think of its name. But Beaufort, you are in for some very, very gusty winds as it's making its way into Laurel Bay and across the MCAS. So Paris Island, dry right now, but it's basically moving across the Broad River into Beaufort proper and the Paris Island area. It's at Bailey's Landing right now, so it is along 170 crossing over into Beaufort. But the heaviest stuff right now, and let's go ahead and see if there's any rotation with this. It's very fast moving winds. We'll put the radar on from Charleston. So these winds are pretty gusty. You don't see a tight couplet, so we're not under any warning. But the severe thunderstorm warnings that have been going out all early afternoon have pretty much been saying that these winds could pack a punch up to 70 miles an hour. So these severe thunderstorms are not anything to take lightly. So please, if you are in Bluffton, if you know anyone in Bluffton that may be traveling along 46, call them and tell them 278. But right now, I'm just zooming out a little bit, and it looks messy. It doesn't look tight, which is a good thing. We don't want anything to kind of spin up. But the severe thunderstorm warning, I'll go back to the alerts, is still in effect for most all our viewing area in the low country. And that includes Hilton Head, Defusky, Levy, Bluffton, Hardyville, Ridgeland, and pretty much all of Hampton County and toward Beaufort and the Frogmore area on St. Helena. Just real quick, I'm going to go back to the radar and talk about the fact that the light rain we got a little bit of light rain through 21 Pooler all the way through Richmond Hill, but we're not done just yet. This is why I say don't go ahead and go out and, check on your yard gnomes, etc. Statesboro to Pembroke, heavy rain along 280, and some of the thunderstorm reports that we've gotten, oh, this is new. Actually, let's go back to Bluffton. That thunderstorm has produced enough wind where a trained storm spotter has reported tree limbs down and a tree on a house in Bluffton at 9th Avenue. Now, I'm not very familiar with that, but I could just imagine that right here, this is where we're seeing, this is a very densely populated area pretty much from 170 along 46 to 278 in the bridges. So please, even though you're not under a warning, just stay inside and wait it out. Dave?
Yeah, and you mentioned that the very strong gusty winds, and that's going to be a concern here still with that line, especially as it makes its way into the low country. So we do have that severe thunderstorm warning for our low country counties, including Hampton, Jasper, Beaufort County, going through 145. And as Jamie mentioned, we have reports of a tree down over into the Bluffton area on a house doing some damage over in that region. Now, we don't have any more warnings south of the Altamaha River as far as any tornado watches or any severe thunderstorm warnings. The severe threat is really going to be winding down once that line moves through your region. So the severe threat is really pretty much over as you get back into Statesboro and then Glenville, even into the Ludowici area. We're not really expecting severe weather, but you're still going to get some very heavy rainfall associated in the wake of the line of storms, which is moving through the region. So the severe threat, we're going to stay with you here until this line moves out of our viewing area, especially here into parts of Beaufort County right now, as it's not even raining yet over on Hilton Island. So we're going to stay with you through at least the next 25 minutes or so until that line moves through. Again, this looks very intense, but that is just heavy rain, occasionally getting a little bit of some lightning embedded in there. But we're still going to get some heavy rainfall moving through the region. You can see that from Millen, Statesboro, Glenville, even to the Jessup area. So we're not done with the rain, but the severe threat is pretty much over for most of our area if you're watching this, except for the low country and then extending down into coastal areas of Chatham County. That's where we're looking at the severe threat for some of those strong damaging winds, 60+ miles per hour, and even an isolated tornado still can't be ruled out. That's where the tornado watch, they're going to keep that in effect until that line moves out of our area. So that's what we're going to be watching right now. We'll go ahead and zoom on in as we've been following this line of some storms as we get into Jasper and into Beaufort County, and we'll even include parts of Chatham County because even Tybee is pretty quiet right now. But Tybee Island, get ready for it. Here it comes. We'll be moving into your area very shortly. We'll put a tracker on this system right here as it's making its way pretty much quickly out to the northeast at about, let's say, 55 miles per hour or so. So if you're watching over here into Tybee Island and then heading all the way up to Hilton Island, this is going to be moving up into your area, getting into Tybee by 1:30. Again, right now it's 1:26, so just the next couple of minutes. Hilton Head by 1:42, and into the Folly Field area 1:46, the Land's End area by about 1:52. So the storms are kind of working a little bit more parallel to the coastline as opposed to moving eastward. So it's going to take a little bit longer to clear the coast here, but it's going to move through with very strong winds. If you're over at the RBC Heritage, it's been windy all day today. Get ready for a strong gust of wind. It's right over the Defusky Island area right now, heading on the south side of the Bluffton region along 46, 170. That's where Jamie was talking about. Again, we had a little bit of that damage over in that region, and that line continues heading up into the low country. Notice most of Chatham County is pretty quiet as of right now as far as the strong damaging wind threat. That's more right here on the east side. So still in the landings area, if you're watching over there, Wilmington Island, Whitmarsh Island, that's the region we're going to be keeping our eyes on, heading over towards Tybee Island, then heading into the marshy areas here, southern areas of Jasper County. But Palmetto Bluff into the Bluffton area, heading right up towards 146, 170 in the Beaufort region. Looks like we have a new tornado warning. Well, let me see this tornado warning right now. We just have a new tornado warning, which is just popped up here. Let's see if we can get the warning and see what we have with that, how long it's for. That's the warning of a storm now in extreme northern areas of Beaufort County. That goes through 2 p.m. So let's go ahead and track that one right now and zoom on into that one into northern Beaufort County. Tornado warning now in effect for your area near the Sheldon region going through 2 o'clock. And let's see if we can zoom on in. We got the velocity, which shows you where the winds are into that system. Let's see if we can actually click on and zoom in to this area. So if you're watching right now, Beaufort, you are okay as far as any warnings. No warning in effect for your area. And it looks like it's moving very quickly right now. I'm trying to find something that would prompt the warning right here. And let's see if I can move it down a little bit. Looks like we got very tight rotation, possibly over here near the Yemassee area, it looks like. That could be what prompted the warning right now. That's got a little bit of some rotation in this area, right along 21 to the east of Interstate 95 right now. That's not, whenever you see it really a line of red and green next to each other, that's not tight rotation. But we are seeing some of that here getting into the Yemassee area. So right now, we're going to be watching that region. I'm going to try to zoom on in a little bit more here and see if we can find any other areas in that region we can kind of tell you about right now. So it's north of South Carolina 68, and as we zoom on in, It looks like it's right along 21 right now, US 21. This is Interstate 95 right now. It's north of the Ebenezer Road areas, north of the Ebenezer Road, right along US 21, and continuing to make its way out to the north. Can you get the specifics on that one, Jamie? Do you have that specifics over there on the storm, how fast it's moving?
I was just
We're going to send it over to Jamie right now, who's got more specifics on that particular storm.
Yeah, Dave. So I was just talking to the Chatham County Emergency Management Director, Dennis Jones, and he was concerned about, I will go back to that warned storm in northern portions of Hampton and Jasper County that just clipped Yemassee. But I want to take a quick look, if you can take this, of we're looking at Tybee Island right now. So this is on the south end of the island, just south of Highway 80, the more populated area. So this is actually moving toward portions of Little Tybee. There is a broad area of circulation, and it's moving very quickly, and most of the bulk of this storm is pretty much going off the coast right now. So right now we're keeping an eye on this broad area of circulation. If it gets any tighter, it may be warned, and there may be water spouts as this continues to push the south end of the island. So here we are with Highway 80 all the way down to Tabrisa and the north end of the island, but this is continuing to move toward Tybee. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Let me go back, and I'm keeping it in the storm rotation, the velocity, where we do have a warned storm in the northern portions of Hampton and Jasper County. So this is where Dave's talking about. This, when I just showed you on Tybee Island, it was kind of loosey-goosey. This is tight. This is an area where the green and the red are married, a couplet, and the couplet is right here, moving along 21, I-95. This is going to be moving out of the WTOC viewing area, but very strong winds still possible for the Yemassee area, for the Bruton. If you know anybody in Pocatello, the Sheldon Church area, right here, this could have just flared up, and the warning came out even after it moved through Yemassee. So right now, that is what we're watching with the warned storm. Radar indicated a tornado radar indicated a tornado located 8 miles southeast of Yemassee, moving northeast at 55. So it's probably out of Yemassee at this time. Right now, you're looking at our FastFit WTOC Tybee Island Skycam. I'm going to go back to the radar on the velocity where I was just on the phone with the Chatham County Emergency Management Director, Dennis Jones, where they are watching. They are helping with storm reports, but they are watching what's maybe coming down the pipe. And right here, that was coming off of Little Tybee and Defusky Landing, this very dark and very large shelf cloud that is that's Hilton Head. Let me go here. So we are looking to the south end of the island from where our camera is on top of the water tower. So you're looking basically toward Little Tybee right here. And there is an area of a rotation. This is not warned, right, Dave? We do not have a warning for Chatham County, but this could be a strong. Are we even in a thunderstorm warning for this? Because this could be very, very strong winds heading toward a very populated area of Tybee Island. So we're going to keep watching. We've got the heavy rainfall now coming down on our FastFit Tybee Island Skycam, and blinding rain, in fact. You won't necessarily look off the coast because it's moving off the coast. So we want to keep an eye right where you had it, Priya. We have our executive producer, Priya, looking exactly where this camera is, and that's the concern. If you want to move it a little bit, not toward the ocean, but away from the ocean, so you want to go, oh, Dave's moving it, okay. So we're watching this area with very gusty winds, possibly up to 70 miles an hour. We have had severe thunderstorm damage reports with this line that have been marching toward the coast. Garden City has a tree on a home on 13th Street. We have power lines down on Shipyard Road, and we do have power outages reported in Rincon. at Carolina Avenue and Ebenezer Road. So we have been watching this and tracking this as it's making its way off the coast. This may be rain wrapped. It's not a warned storm, but nonetheless very, very strong winds on Tybee Island right now. You're taking a live look from the Georgia Power outage map, and you can see that power outages are dotting all over the coastal empire and low country. 14,000 people are without power right now in the Chatham County area. That's right along I-95 and I-16. So that's probably the storm that rolled through Garden City, Port Wentworth, and Pooler just about 30 minutes ago, and it's continuing to work at Tybee Island right now. Can we take that camera? I mean, this is kind of the crux of the Tybee Island Skycam. Just keeping an eye on this. This is a very heavy rainfall, very gusty winds. This storm could be packing up to maybe 50-mile-per-hour winds as it's making its way off Tybee Island right now. And so hopefully, even though this is not a warned storm, you're in your safe place, and it's continuing to move pretty much off the lighthouse area, which is behind the camera. Don't have to move it, Dave. There's an obstructed view. So overall, what I'm showing here on the maps is what we call velocity. So you're looking for any sort of red and green marrying up and getting very tight. This is very broad area circulation, and I'm glad that it's moving off into the Atlantic right now, but you are seeing very heavy rainfall on our FastFit Tybee Island Skycam right now. And so, Cutter, do you have anything more at the live desk?
Yeah, you know, we're in that stage of the storm where we're starting to get images in and updates from local officials. Right now, Savannah Fire and Rescue on scene of a portion of the damage, one of many reports that we've had so far this morning. A portion of the warehouse roof at 400 Logistics Way. Again, one of the industrial damage reports we received was blown off by heavy wind. Savannah Fire Rescue, here's the good news at this site, searched the site. All occupants escaped unharmed. Earlier, there were reports of injuries, but at least at this site, again, 400 Logistics Way. If you know anyone that works there, breathe a sigh of relief. No injuries at that site. But I'm actually going to stay on iPad, so bear with me, producers. Kind of going off script here a little bit. Going to go over to my Twitter account, WTOC Cutter Martin. Meteorologist Andrew Gorton has been out for hours, out on the streets tracking this storm literally as it moved in. And this is going to be, again, it looks like the 200 Expansion Boulevard in Garden City. This is roof damage. And what happens is, people say it's a tornado, and we'll decide that. Scientists will decide that over the next couple of days. But these straight line winds get up underneath any little groove in these industrial buildings, and they tend to peel away rather easily. Again, this is extensive roof damage here at an industrial facility in Garden City. This is probably the Expansion Boulevard stretch in Garden City, one of many sites, though, in that immediate area that do have damage. And also a report here, not a damage report, but some good news, some proactive news coming out of Hilton Head Island. Tim Guiderus saying that the media center at the RBC Heritage Tournament was evacuated some time ago, well before the gustiest winds and the heavy rain moved in. Again, they were escorted out. They were told to get out, get to a safer place as these damaging wind gusts arrived. But again, we're starting to get more damage photos in, and want to go ahead and give you an easy way to upload your story, what you're seeing today. WTOC weather app, again, it's loading up right now, so bear with me here. We kind of had to change the view. We're going to go off of radar back to the home screen, and if you have damage at your home or would just like to upload what you're seeing, all you have to do is scroll down, and as we keep scrolling here, hopefully the iPad, there we go, below the watch live, to submit photos, it's at the bottom of the weather app. See it, snap it, send it. All you have to do is click on that, upload your photo from your camera roll, check a little waiver, and then we have it in our system, and we can help tell your story, what you're seeing today here in the WTOC newsroom. So again, damage now confirmed in Garden City, one of many areas seeing trees, power lines, roof damage being reported, and unfortunately probably we'll have more reports coming out of Beaufort County, Hilton Head Island here over the next 30 to 45 minutes. Guys, I'm here in the newsroom. I'll keep you updated on the reports that are coming in.
Very helpful information, Cutter, with the First Alert app. And right now, I just wanted to give you an overall view. Strong storms. We do have a tornado warning for Colleton County. That was the tornado warning that came out of Yemassee. We're going to get in contact with the Yemassee Fire and Police and see if they've had any damage there. We go all the way through Beaufort. Beaufort, you're seeing gusty winds right now. And good news from Tim Guidera that they did postpone the Heritage because it is right on your doorstep. And this line right here that is moving off Tybee Tybee, still producing heavy rainfall, but that moved through downtown Savannah. And that's where we find our Brianna Collier live in the downtown area.
Yeah, that's right, Jamie. I'm down here at Green Fire Pizza on Drayton Street, and as you can see behind me, the wind is just blowing. And earlier when I got here, the wind was blowing so hard, it was blowing the rain into the restaurant. In fact, I had to get in here and take cover myself, and you could see many people when I first got here as well, just running for cover as well in the downtown area. There was people that didn't even know that the storm were coming, and they were still just coming in and trying to take cover. And right now, I'm going to try to step out of the way and zoom in as best as I can to kind of show you what it's looking like right now. It's letting up a little bit. I'm going to try to step out here too. And you can kind of see, now these trees here were blowing and cars were just zooming past. And like I said, right now it's letting up, but this was not the case when I first got into this restaurant. Again, I'm here on Drayton Street, Green Fire Pizza, and they were nice enough to let me in here. And I'm going to reset up the camera and kind of step back into the frame here. So just to let you know, like I said, it's letting up. There's people still kind of making their way into the restaurant and making their way downtown, but of course we'll keep an eye on this weather, and I'll bring updates as they become available.
Thank you so much, Brianna. Let's talk about traffic a little bit, because we know that those trucks traveling I-95 in the low country have to slow down, have to pull over. We have not heard of any obstructions on I-95, and that could be a good thing, because Jasper County and South Carolina Highway DOT, South Carolina DOT, Department of Transportation, along with the Jasper County Sheriff's Office and Hardeeville Police have begged for years, and they've finally done it, taking down a lot of trees on I-95. So this could just be slow traffic. We do have some obstructions here, a tree down 204 and I-95, but the WTOC traffic tracker is actually on 21 right now in the area of Shaw, and that's near, did you say Effingham Baptist Church? So we probably have Rincon Police directing traffic, and we're getting back into the traffic right now, and you can see those power lines down. Lot of tall pine trees along 21 and throughout Effingham County. So right now you can see that tree that was really, I'm surprised that it was uprooted, because it's leaning down from the roots. We have not had significant rainfall in at least a week, but the winds, that would lead to possible snapping. But that's interesting. That's right at the root ball that took down those power lines, and you do have police reducing traffic on 21. Is that facing north? It doesn't matter. They have police directing traffic on 21 near Effingham Baptist, where the tree is precariously laying on a power line there. Do we have the power outage maps? Maybe we can see how many people are without power in that area. And we do know that thousands are without power in Chatham County, at least. That was 14,000 people without power in the immediate Chatham County area. We also know that we could see power outages along the 21 in Effingham as well. If you could just put that circle just to the north and query where it says 23. I don't know if that's 23 reports or not. However, we've got another live look of actually what the first report of damage in Port Wentworth off of Expansion Boulevard. And so that is roof damage right now that you can see from one of our live cameras out in the field. We've got everybody out in the field now, where it's a little safer in Chatham County. We've got the storm chaser out there in Port Wentworth, or right on the Port Wentworth-Bloomingdale line, where the first report of some wind, wind damage, it was actually reported as a possible tornado. However, that has not been confirmed, so we're going with straight line wind damage here until the National Weather Service can tell us differently. The building is Port City Logistics. I actually know the name of that building. It just sticks out in my mind. Port City Logistics building damage. Looks like it just, peeled the can up, the top of a can open off of a a soup can or something. So the WTOC Storm Chaser taking a look there. No injuries reported with that roof damage. Dave?
Yeah, let's get you updated on what we have as far as the watches and warnings go. Tornado watch still goes through 6 p.m. That'll be allowed to expire, I would assume, shortly once that line of storms makes its way through the low country. But we still have a severe thunderstorm warning in the outlined yellow area for Beaufort County, extreme northern areas of Jasper and Hampton County. And we have tornado warnings up to Colleton County out of our viewing area as they're moving away from our area. So we're not too concerned about that area, but we're still getting some very heavy rainfall and some gusty winds associated with this line of storms. We'll go ahead and put the radar back on for us right now and show us what we're going to be watching right now. And that would be the radar right here, which is going to show us the heaviest rain is really with the strongest winds. That's really what we're concerned about, because we're still getting heavy rain now back into Effingham and Bullock County, but it's not as far as anything severe as far as producing any wind gusts or tornadoes or anything like that. It's this line still we're going to be watching right now. And I want to go ahead and zoom on in to parts of Chatham County and now moving into Hilton and Island area as well. And this is where the line of storms finally making its way over towards the RBC Heritage, over to Hilton and Island. Heavy rainfall moved through Tybee Island. Heaviest rain is right along the Hilton and Island area south end, right over Harbortown, it looks like. And that's continuing to make its way northward, heading up towards the into Paris Island region, and then continuing to work into northern areas there of St. Helena Island, at least coastal regions, and Hunting Island. You're going to be the last ones to see the rain. I want to show you the velocity right now, because we are keeping our eyes on the velocity here along the coastal regions for a possible water spout. It looked like it was pretty good rotation associated with this just off of Hilton and Island in this little embedded area right here. So we're looking at that area right now. You guys,
do we have Joel Keppel, guys? Do we have Joel Keppel live?
I haven't heard. Do we have? No?
Okay, we don't have him live. We have numerous live shots about to come out of Hilton Head. We're just getting
Okay.
ready.
Yeah, okay, all right. And again, with the storms have moved into the Hilton and Island area. We got our crew up there, which is reporting on the Heritage. They're getting ready. They're going to be doing a live shot once it's safe to do that and give us a look at what it's showing over there on Hilton and Island. But again, we had some rotation well offshore of Hilton and Island, and that could be producing a waterspout. But again, that is moving away from the area, so we're not too concerned about that region right now. So that's definitely some good news. Let's get back on over here, and I'm going to show you where the rain is moving out of the northern areas there of Jasper and Beaufort County as we look at the heaviest activity, and there it is, getting into Hilton and Island right now. Heavy rainfall, gusty winds. We can see winds gusting 60+ miles per hour with that band now moving into the Hilton and Island area. Beaufort right now along 170. It's just getting into your southern areas right now. You're probably seeing some very strong gusty winds associated with this, probably 40 to 60 miles per hour embedded with this region here. St. Helena Island down 21, getting over towards Hunting Island, Fripp Island. You're dry now, but not for long. Again, those storms will be there within the next 20 minutes or so. Heavy rain still up towards the Sheldon region, but the strongest storms are moving out of Beaufort County. That's where the severe threat has now moved in with this line, now up towards the Walterboro area. So the threat for severe weather is over with here for Hampton County and into Jasper County. That line has now moved well up into Colleton County and will continue to move away from our region. But we're still keeping our eyes on that into especially Beaufort County and even coastal areas here of Chatham County. Still going to see the potential for seeing some very strong damaging winds. We have these reports of all the damage going on with those winds as that line moved through parts of Chatham County and also into parts of Effingham County as well. And we have reports of the trees down over in Beaufort County. So that's where the heaviest rain is. We'll get you back over to a live or a view of the entire viewing area, show you that we have still some very heavy rainfall and inland here into now into Statesboro area, northern areas of Effingham County, right along the Scriven County line. That's going to continue to make its way out to the east of us. But if you're watching in Vidalia, you're done. You're dry. You're over with for any type of severe threat. Maybe an isolated shower is still possible, but any of the heaviest rain is over. Same story in Hazelhurst, Douglas, Baxley, into the Alma area. You're done for any severe threat, so you're good news. The coastal region still going to get some more moderate to heavy rain showers, but the severe threat is located with this line now moving into Beaufort County. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the coastal areas of Beaufort County. We'll put all the alerts back on for you and show you exactly what we have out there. And there it is, the severe thunderstorm warning still in effect here for really just Beaufort County right now, and that goes through 2:45 right now. So another hour until those storms kind of clear the coastal regions, and then we're going to really, again, see that severe threat wind down for the entire viewing area. This tornado watch will be allowed to expire, I would assume, well before that 6 p.m. hour. That's what it goes through right now. So you're seeing the alerts. If you're traveling, trying to get outside, maybe trying to come home, got some errands to run, I wouldn't be advising travel right now along the coastal regions. Check the First Alert weather app. Live radar available for free on that weather app. We'll give you an update on where we are seeing the rain showers, and you can kind of time out when you want to be leaving the house. But again, we're still seeing the heaviest of the rain right now moving, at least the strongest band of rain with the strongest winds associated with it into Beaufort County. So we're still getting some of that yellow and orange and red, indicating some heavier rain moving through Scriven, Hampton, and now most of Effingham County seeing some tremendous amounts of rainfall. But it's not severe. We'll still see some winds gusting out there, but nothing like what we had seen move through the region earlier. So we're starting to wind things down. We're going to send it over to Jamie Earl right now over into the First Alert Weather Center.
Thanks, Dave. And just a view of Hilton Head right now with lighter rain moving 278.46. I have this on velocity, keeping an eye on this area, which could be a possible water spout off the island. And this is moving toward Business 278 and eventually toward St. Helena. I just got a picture in from the Shore Beach services that I'm going to put out on social media pretty soon. But I do want to toss it to Tim Guidera, who's been covering the heritage for the past week, and he's going to give us a live look of what it actually feels like out there.
Hey, Jamie. Well, the weather hit here probably about 20 minutes ago. They evacuated the media center probably around that same time. They had closed the golf course to spectators at noon. People really didn't leave, though, and then about an hour after that, they called play because the storm was getting closer. The PGA Tour travels with a weather team, and they have a meteorologist on site, and when it got within about 5 miles, the heavy rain got within about 5 miles, they pulled the players off the golf course, and that's when everybody started leaving. And the media center, as you know, is a temporary structure. It's a tent, but it's a large tent, but it is still a tent. So they asked everybody to leave that immediately, and we retreated to a rental home that WTOC has provided for the Heritage coverage team. We're back here. You can see there's a lagoon behind us here, and it's raining pretty hard out there. They have told us to expect 30 minutes of severe wind, intense wind and rain, followed by 2 hours of rain and lightning. We've already had a couple of lightning hits close to here, dimmed our lights in the home here. So it is bad now. We're expecting it to get a lot worse. Lindsey Goff had a chance to speak to the head of security at Sea Pines earlier today. She'll be back later to tell you what to expect. Jake Wallace was out on the golf course when they called play. He can give you an idea of what it looked like out there. But for now, the Heritage at least is in a holding pattern because of this weather. Long lines of spectators trying to get on shuttles to return to their cars, to leave the property. The original plan was that they would reopen the golf course perhaps at 5 o'clock tonight after the rain has gone through. But if there's a lot of damage to the golf course, a lot of limbs down, it's going to take some time to clear that off. Any of the pavilions or skyboxes are closed for the day because they will need to be re-inspected before they can be open again. So if you were planning to head out to those this afternoon, that's not going to happen. And we don't know actually if the golf course will be reopened. That was the original plan, and we'll see what happens here over the next couple of hours. And we will be in touch to let you know how it's going here again with the conditions here. Starting to rain. The heaviest of it, I don't believe, is hit yet because it's been some rain, but not heavy rain. But they told us that it's going to get quite bad at some point in the next hour or so. So we'll keep you updated here from Hilton Head. But for now, we're live at Sea Pines. Tim Guidera.
Thanks, Tim. And right now we're taking a live look from our Beaufort Memorial Skycam. Heavy downpours within the Beaufort River right there. And Beaufort all the way down to the north end of Hilton Head. It was a little calm behind Tim, but they have another round of rain coming that Garden City and Savannah, Whitmarsh Island, and Tybee Island's getting right now. Some of the gustiest winds making their way with this severe thunderstorm warning that is still in place. There is still a thunderstorm warning still in place for portions of the Low Country, and those include Bluffton, Hilton Head to Fusky Landing, all the way up 170 into Laurel Bay, MCAS, the Habersham area. I know that's it's becoming very popular, a very nice little neighborhood there. Buford and the Frogmore area out to Ladies Island and St. Helena. That warning is in effect until 2:45. So yes, while that band kind of let off where you could see Tim looked a little calm behind him, there is still more rain and wind behind the first initial front. So right now we're going to go back to the radar and show you that that rain is continuing to fall from Buford all the way down through Hilton Head. And so we're going to continue to watch that for gusty winds and possibly damaging winds. We did have a report of a tree down at 9th Street in Bluffton. And right now, I'm going to take a live look in Port Wentworth. Is that what you said, Priya? Port Wentworth of some damage to another building, or is this the same building that was initially coming through? Okay, so we're getting another view of that 200 Expansion Boulevard. This was the very first report of damage in Port Wentworth right when we were tracking a very strong storm live here on WTOC with 66-mile-per-hour wind gusts recorded at the airport. So it just looks like the roof was peeled off of this building, Port City Logistics in Port Wentworth off of Okay, so this is, I'm getting live information in my IFB, in my ear. It's the building directly behind the first building that we saw on Port City Logistics. This is the building behind it. So a series of buildings seeing extensive roof damage, and with that kind of, looks like siding and insulation kind of pulled off right there. This is a non-confirmed, I just want to say this is it was reported as a tornado from a viewer into the Chatham County 911 center, but that has not been confirmed. So we're going to say unconfirmed tornado at this point. Right now, we're just going with straight line wind damage. See that circle there where Georgia Tech Savannah is? It's right behind the campus. And so you can actually see where that is. It's a cluster of industrial buildings with Port City Logistics. It's off 200 Expansion Boulevard off Jimmy DeLoach Parkway. And so very familiar when you're on I-95 northbound, you're booking it to 21. Most people just kind of pass that, but that is a very populated area, especially for our port workers. Right now, let's go back to the radar and talk about what we have in store that is still coming down the pipe for portions of the Low Country. So we're still watching that line of storms pretty much from Buford all the way down through the northern end of the island. Light rain where Tim was on Sea Pines, to Fusky Landing, getting some heavier rain. This is going to so you're going to get an ebb and flow. You're going to get the rain where it is now, and then more rain back to the west, which is in Rincon and the Shawnee area, and still heavy rain from Statesboro, Pembroke, all the way down to Midway and heading into Richmond Hill. And if I'm just going to put velocity on here because this is a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of the Low Country, and that's the only warning we have. So good thing is that it could be very windy, but at least we're not seeing any obvious rotation out there. Now you say, whoa, what about this? Well, this is at the radar site, so this is winds away. This is what you're normally going to see at a radar site with this type of situation. But when you look down here to populated areas of Hilton Head, Bluffton, into Buford, just looks like some heavy rain and wind. And Dave, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, that's definitely some good news. Whenever you see the same kind of colors associated with the velocity out there, that means all the winds are going in the same direction over that particular area, so we don't have a danger for any type of rotation embedded in those storms. But certainly, we're still watching the possibility of seeing some very strong winds making its way down to the surface. Winds aloft, we have reports of when we're looking at the velocities as they're moving through, about 100 miles per hour winds just above the surface, about 1,000 to 2,000 feet above the surface. And the thunderstorms, as they grow in intensity, tap into that air and then bring that down to the surface. That's why we're getting those winds which have been gusting for some areas possibly over 70 miles per hour, 66 officially at the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport. And we just saw where all that damage was, not too far from the airport. And that's what you can get with this type of winds. Thankfully, the strong area of the line of storms, which prompted all the severe warnings we had moving out of the area. The only warnings we have right now are for coastal areas now of Beaufort County, and specifically here, it looks like Bluffton areas, you're going to be okay right now. That line is now getting into St. Helena Island, Fripp Island, Hunting Island, Paris Island, seeing some of those heavier rain bands and gusty winds associated with that, and then it'll move up towards Colleton County, up towards the Edisto Beach and Charleston region. Heavier rain still back out to the west, and we got our Andrew Gordon right now, meteorologist Andrew Gordon, who's in the WTOC First Alert Storm Chaser, and he's encountering some of the heavier rain right now over towards the Fort Wentworth area. Andrew?
Yeah, hey there, Dave. I am here in the WTOC Storm Chaser. The rain is still here, but thankfully the wind that caused this damage no longer is here. You can see some of the roofing from one of these industrial buildings has been ripped off, and I just spoke with some people that were inside when it happened. No injuries to report over here, but it was definitely scary for those folks when this happened. They think it was a tornado, of course. We'll see what the National Weather Service says. Either way, if it was a tornado or straight line wind, it doesn't really matter because either way it caused damage over here. And the good news is that no injuries were reported, but there's siding through everywhere. There's that roofing material, some of that cloth-like material, the cotton as well. It is everywhere over here, but I just have that good news that there are no injuries reported. We're going to keep looking around over here for additional damage, hopefully still reporting no injuries. Right now in the WTOC Storm Chaser, Andrew Gorton for WTOC News.
And again, we're seeing the rain showers move through that area, and you mentioned that the wind isn't as bad. So even though it looks like there's a lot of rain and wind in here, it's just rain associated with it. There might be occasional lightning strike or two, but certainly not those winds which we had earlier. The only chance for the winds, would we have the severe chance, is with that line. So if it's already moved through your area, you're done with the severe threat. Vidalia, Hazelhurst, Douglas, Baxley, Alma, you're all quiet right now. Even Statesboro, you're drying out, still seeing a few light showers. We're still getting some of the moderate showers now approaching the coastal areas, but the severe threat still here with that severe thunderstorm warning for Beaufort County. That's going to go through, I believe they extended it to 2:45 until it clears all areas of Beaufort County. So we'll get all the watches and warnings which we have out there. And there it is. You can see it for Beaufort County going through 2:45. The tornado watch is still in effect, but I would assume that they're going to let that expire as they did a lot of our southern areas as a line of storms has moved on through. So we'll give that a little bit of time and hopefully we'll clear that out of here. But as far...
The Hilton Head Airport reported a 61-mile-per-hour wind gust.
Yeah, they just had another 61-mile-per-hour wind gust? Oh, the Hilton Head Island Airport had a 61-mile-per-hour wind gust. Again, the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport had that 66-mile-per-hour wind gust. So that was with that line, which moved through Hilton Head about 25 minutes to a half hour ago. Now moving up to Hunting Island and Fripp Island. So we'll go ahead and zoom on into that area because that's really the only area of concern right now. Everything else has moved out of our viewing region, and it's just coastal areas now, Beaufort County, which are going to see the strong and the gusty winds in here into Beaufort, right down into the east side of Beaufort on Highway 21. We're right over St. Helena Island into the Land's End area, Hunting Island, Fripp Island. This is the Chisholm region, which is seeing the strongest winds right now. But thankfully, what we're looking at as of last check, we'll check it out right now, the velocity is not showing any type of rotation embedded in that line. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that right now. Notice it's a solid red. That means that red is indicating which winds which are going away from the radar. The radar is located back over in Grays, South Carolina, northern areas of Jasper County, so it's moving away from the region. So no tornado threat right there, but expect some still very gusty winds, 50 to 60 miles per hour possible in eastern areas of Beaufort County. The rest of us are going to start to see some quieter weather in here. We're going to send it out to meteorologist Carter Martin, who's live at the update desk.
Yeah, again, this is a very visual storm, a storm that moved through during the day, produced a lot of at least minor wind damage across the region. So we're getting a ton of photos in from our southern portion of the WTOC market viewing area, if you will, south of the Altamaha River. Let's take it down to Wayne County. This area essentially ground zero for some of the most extensive damage we've seen thus far. Again, we have photos from photographer Dan Scott, and you can see these are windows blown out, numerous trees, not uprooted, but snaps, likely power lines as well. Looks like maybe a library or a school there having numerous large tree limbs down. And look at the shingles being ripped off of that building. Again, this is significant, not just tree damage, but vehicle damage. We do have some structural damage in Jessup. Now, yet to be determined if this was solely straight line winds, possibly an isolated weaker tornado. Nonetheless, damage is damage, and it is impacting so many families on this Easter weekend, Good Friday. A lot of people wanting family to come into town. Maybe you're hitting the roadways today. I suggest you don't. Wait a little bit longer. We have numerous trees, power lines, debris on area roadways. I-16, 95, both having issues at the moment. If you were planning to leave the office early and hit the roads this afternoon to head to your Easter weekend destination, let's just hang tight for a little bit. Again, proof is in the pictures. We have quite a bit of damage out there, and the winds are still a little gusty, and it's still raining. There's still thunder, lightning, so still not the safest scenario. But if you can safely do so, and you have a story to tell, something to show us, help us relay information to the Weather Service, you can upload these visual stories, if you will, your personal photos of what you experienced today, videos as well, in the WTOC weather app. That's what I'm scrolling through behind me on the monitor. It is on the bottom of the weather app. Again, you open it up, you get the ad, the videos up at the top. You have to scroll just a little bit, see it, snap it, send it. Click on that. It'll pull up your camera roll. You can upload your video, your picture via this source, sign a little waiver, and send that to us. And we would love to show what you have seen on TV. Also, we're working on a slideshow that will be available at wtoc.com. Maybe you're away from the area already for your Easter weekend celebration. Just want you to know that there's quite a bit of damage across the region, likely a lot of straight line wind damage, a lot of stories, videos coming in. We're working to filter out those, and we'll be showing many on TV, of course, throughout the news this evening. Again, as we kind of wind down the severe weather risk, we're really starting to see just how destructive some of these storms were across our area. Guys.
All right, Cutter, yeah, and he mentioned the severe weather threat pretty much winding down, so we're going to wrap up this continuous coverage right now as the last of the storms you see moving out of Beaufort County. And the rest of this is just going to be some moderate to rain showers here for the next hour or two.
So maybe an inch of rain possible in some of the pockets of heavy downpours that continue to slow. This is moving a little slowly. This is the back end of the storm. This was just the initial push of energy in the atmosphere, and the cold front is still back to the west. So we could still have trailing showers throughout the afternoon hours.
But the severe threat,
yes,
as far as we're looking at what we had earlier, is done. So that is definitely some good news. The only exception would be extreme northeastern areas of Beaufort County, but that'll be done here in the next 10 or 15 minutes. And we're still going to get some rain showers. We'll still be with you, giving you updates if we need it throughout the afternoon. If we need to break into programming, which we don't think we're going to need to, we'll be here throughout the afternoon. Of course, more updates on all our social media platforms on WTOC.
Thanks for joining us, guys.